Nobody can cause anybody to fail. Nobody can cause anybody not to grow. Nobody can cause anybody not to excel, not to be lifted. It is your choice that you have made. So when you are in the center of God's will, the heaven deploy their best resources to back you up. You don't have to struggle. The grace of God will sustain you in His purpose, no matter how painful.
Welcome to RCCG, City of David, Abuja. Enjoy the teaching of our dear pastor, Agbolade Okenla.
You know, Christianity is beyond coming to church. Christianity is beyond coming to church. You know, some of the nations that are doing very well, they told us that some of them don't have God. Until I went to China, that I realized that most of their names are Christian names. Do you know that a significant number of them, they're Catholic? Because I've always wondered, you see, nation cannot just go without God. There must also be an element of God in it. There must always be an element of God. And no, don't let anybody define God to you. Do you understand? When we were small, they used to force us to go to church. We go to Sunday school. But it's totally different when you encounter God by yourself. When you encounter God by yourself, many things will change about you. Many things will change. I've always told you, you don't come to Christ and remain the same, especially in the area of character. And that's where it becomes very dangerous. Where James was telling us that we cannot be hearers. Many have become hearers. How did we get to where we got to in Nigeria? Do you know why? It's very simple. Nobody paid attention to anything. And the secretary had told me this before. A society where there are no consequences for wrongdoing, it will become a culture. Do you know in those days, when you see a dead body on the street as children, we're afraid to go back to the street. But now, a dead body is on the street, everybody's looking for the next one. And the moment you see, you must give it to God, though. When God created Adam and Eve and put them in a confined space, He knew what He was doing. Can you imagine if God had just left them? God put them in a space, even though so He put them He created the heavens and the earth, and then He put them in a tiny place, like less than 1% of what He created. He said, just take charge of this tiny bit. See how they messed it up. And as human beings, you want God to live alone. Do you understand? So, we must have a sense of purpose and will. Because you see, when you don't have a sense of purpose, like Pastor Benga said this morning, when you are on a journey and you don't know where you are going, people will define your journey for you. Don't let people define your journey. Can you imagine if Daddy Joe had allowed everybody to be doing whatever they like? The 3 by 3 kilometer will not be built. We won't even be in camp. Do you know the story of that camp? Do you know after a while, in the first auditorium, some of their papa pastors went to Daddy Joe, and they really tried. And at that time, were less than 10,000. Some of the senior pastors, some of them are still alive today. In fact, myself and H, we joke about it. They went to Daddy Joe that we're going in this church, that how can we be using a shed, that they wanted to build an auditorium that would take 40,000 people. How many of us believe that was a good gesture? Guess what? Daddy Joe was just looking at them. And they went ahead. They raised the money. When they were about to build, Daddy Joe sat them down. I said, no, God didn't show me 40,000. But what they were doing was made sense, because we're less than 10,000. And they felt the thing was going, that at the worst, it can't be more than 40,000. But one thing occurred to me. What elders see sitting, children will not see standing on the tree. So that Jew said to them, no, he said that God didn't show me this thing you are showing me. God showed me an open space without borders. So they were upset. So they collected the money and gave it to him that go and do whatever you want to do with it. And the Jew said, no, I didn't see a closed church. I saw an open church because I see that there will be a time that we will lose track of counting people. They said it's not possible. In their mind, though, they didn't tell him. They were upset. So it was out of annoyance that they gave him the money, that we have raised the money to build a 40,000 auditorium. By the time that they've built this second auditorium, no, he first expanded the other one. They were saying among themselves that it's like that is right. The time that they started building the second auditorium, the first auditorium was already overflowing in less than 2 years. And they were going to build that place in less than 3 years. He said, what I'm saying is a stadium, the size of a stadium. And when Daddy Jew announced that the 3x3 kilometer will be built, I was with the same set of senior pastors. They said it's not possible. You see, it's good to learn from what you have seen. Because human beings are like that. If Jesus was still alive today now, many of us would be doubting his miracles. The same way you just doubt things. And guess what? I was in that space when Daddy Jew announced. I was with all the people that could have raised the money. I was with them in the international reception room downstairs. That no, it's not possible. It's not possible. In 1 year, by the time we got back to the same camp, the following year, we were there. That Joe was almost 80% completed. The same set of pastors were saying, with God, all things are possible. So, what am I saying? Your life is not just to live. We have confined our spaces and our lives to just to live and pass by. God didn't create us to just live. He created us to have dominion. That is his will and purpose for you and I. And out of all of us, probably only 10% will achieve that purpose because they paid attention. They do what they're supposed to do. Because you see, when God creates, God will do his own. The moment God did his own, he will stop, and the rest is to you. The one that is left to you, the way our lives is no longer God. It is how we have laid our bed. That's how we're lying on it. Nobody can cause anybody to fail. Nobody can cause anybody not to grow. Nobody can cause anybody not to excel, not to be lifted. It is your choice that you have made. I will be here 30 minutes. It will take me almost 3 hours of speaking in tongues, studying the Bible, thinking, to come to the stage and speak for 30 minutes. And sometimes, if I have a meeting, I will lock myself a whole day in a room and be studying so that the word can come out. The anointing is there. But every one of us have failed to do our part. And God will not do your part for you. And your part is the most important part, because everything that God gives you has to grow. God is a God of possibilities. And there are many things to God than just praying and receive answers that we heard yesterday. Your character cannot be bad and you want God to encourage it. And look at what happened to Adam and Eve. God called them and told them that I created you to have dominion. I created you to be purposeful. I created you to multiply. God never created us to be stagnant or diminish. Don't blame anybody for where you are. Take your space, hone your space, and ask God, what do you want me to do? Like Paul said. We're talking about God of possibilities and his will. There is a will for you and I in God. And you might not like that will. It is okay. But if you don't key into that will, your will cannot give you the same result God's will give you. You keep living a frustrated life. Do you understand what I'm saying? We're supposed to be happy when you have come to Christ. But there are many things that you put together. There are many things. And I don't even think coming to church is one of those things. For God to make you who He has destined you to be. Many of us are not teachable. You see somebody excelling, you have access to that person. Instead of you to understudy the person, submit yourself to the person, because you see, your submission cannot be in any way translated into slavery. It is at a point we're submitted to people. But look at us now. Nobody emerges by themselves. You don't just emerge. Leader, it is to become a meaningful leader and a purposeful leader. It is beyond holding microphone. The least of the job here, the least is holding microphone. I saw something. Let me read it to you if it will have meaning to you. Let me read it to you if it will have meaning to you. I saw it. Somebody said, this is not part of the message, I just saw it. It said, the pastor is everything. Rent is due, pastor. Someone is sick, pastor. Children are going wild, pastor. Marriage is shaking, pastor. Delay in pregnancy, pastor. Financial crisis, pastor. Bad dream at 12:13 a.m., pastor. Hear what I saw last night. No food in the house, call pastor. Interview tomorrow morning, call pastor to pray for me. Visa issue, pastor. Please let us be, need prayers. Mother-in-law's trouble. A side chick has entered the equation. There is fire on the mountain. My marriage my marriage must be saved. He promised to marry me and change his mind. Depression has set in. Pastor, I'm no longer praying well. Please do something. I'm traveling. The list never ends. Pastor carry burdens people never see. They absorb pain, fear, confusion, family crisis, emotional breakdown, spiritual battles. I did 3 days program with you. They nearly took my voice. My chest became so congested that I had to call my doctor. In this job, for you to just give you insight, because the devil doesn't want you to. Do you know how many arrows people get? He said they absorb pain, fear, confusion, family crisis, emotional breakdown, spiritual battles, financial distress, disappointments and emergencies, sometimes all before breakfast. All even when they teach people to stand, pray, and even when they teach people to stand, to pray, to grow, to mature and handle things themselves, many still keep coming back because somewhere deep down, they believe pastors will understand. Truth is, many pastors are tired too. They have their own battles, family, bills, tears, and pressures, and moments of weaknesses. Yet they keep showing up for others. Give pastors their flowers. Give them. And that's the truth. And that's the truth. The list of the job we do, you don't even know how many people rent, children's school fees, this, blah, blah, blah. You know, we just, but you know, for us, it's a call. My wife was telling me yesterday, we're talking about some pastors who collect percentage when they preach or collect offering. And the first, and they negotiate. The first thing he said, you are not like that. You are not like that. Do you know the kind of money? Let's just leave it to the Lord will help us. Amen. So one of the things you have to take home today is that there is a plan from God for your life. And your plan is not just an ordinary plan. It is a plan that has been well laid out. So the question to you that you have to check is that, do you know the plan? And what are you doing to fulfill the plan? How many of us have children here? I've told you before. And you don't have plan for your children. Nigeria, you see, if you're not careful, Nigeria will let you lose the sense of purpose. You will feel that you are created for nothing. You will feel that nothing can ever work. Things can work. In this same country, things can work. But there is a purpose for your life. There is a will. God had a plan. Because, you see, the rebirth in Christ is also as someone who gave birth to you naturally. It's just that this one is spiritual. It's like giving you second chance. And the purpose of that is to encounter God and change. Many of us have not changed. Nothing has changed. Character is still as bad. No growth, no spiritual maturity. You cannot walk with God and not be matured. At a point, our parents were giving us breast milk. They will help you, and if you don't want to eat, they will force the pap down your throat by putting your hand at the back and putting you in between their legs and force you to eat because you don't want to eat. Guess what? The same parents, when you get to a point whether you want to eat or not, nobody cares. They will leave you alone, that you are an adult. But do you know what? We can also get to a level where God leaves us alone. And you can get to a level with your pastor where the pastor leaves you alone. And that's where the Bible talks about the reprobate mind. Do you understand what I'm saying? The children of Israel were left alone at a point. Because after a while, God said, they're stiff-necked people. Guess what? After 40 years, for 40 days, they're supposed to get into Canaan. God gave them 1 day for 1 year. So it made 40 years. And at a point, God said, these people, there's nothing I can do. Let me tell you, God's possibilities are limited to his will. What am I saying? God's possibilities are what? But not limited in capacity to do all things. God is not limited in capacity to do all things. Do you get what I'm saying? But is limited in capacity within his will. Do you get what I'm saying? He can do all things. But whatever is not in his will, he will not tamper with. And many of us have moved out of God's will because we lack patience. We lack endurance. We lack consistency. Whatever God is going to do for you must be in his will. However, things happen in our lives that are not in his will for us. The good news is that all things will usually work together for good, according to his purpose. The children of Israel, please, can you put Exodus chapter 12, verse 40 there? When the children of Israel were leaving Egypt, there was an instruction given to them by God concerning Joseph's bone. 40. Now, the sojourn of the children of Israel who lived in Egypt was 430 years. You know the story, yes? And it came to pass at the end of the 430 years, on that very day, it came to pass that all the armies of the Lord went out from the land of Egypt. So, because it was God's will, God deployed everything to make it possible that his word will not fall to an empty ground. So when you are in the center of God's will, the heaven deployed their best resources to back you up. You don't have to struggle like fishes in the sea, lion in the wild, tigers in the wild. They feed themselves. In fact, if you look at the ones in the wild who go by nature that God created, they are fresher than the ones that people bring to the zoo. Why? Because God will sustain them. It will cost government so much money to maintain their lifestyle in the zoo. Am I making sense? See what happened. He said, this is that night of the Lord, a solemn observance for all the children of Israel throughout their generation. God deployed his resources because his will must be fulfilled. And the Lord said to Moses and Aaron, this is the ordinances of the Passover. No foreigner shall eat it. And the Lord had told them that after 4th generation is bringing them back to where? To Canaan. That was the generation of Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and Joseph. Now, it was not going to be possible for Joseph to just appear in that land. Psalm 105. It was not easy for Joseph to just appear. So because he was in God's will, that was why you cannot be in the center of God's will and die before fulfillment. But when you move out of God's will, you can die at any time. You can die at any time. But you can die any time. There's no limit, and there's no, you can die, you can sleep and not wake up. But if you have accepted the will, and you have not finished the will, and you are pursuing the will, it is impossible for you to die. Nobody has ever been in the center of God's will in the Bible that died in the center of God's will and didn't fulfill that purpose. Now, let me show you something. God said that he will bring them to that land in their 4th generation. That was the generation of Joseph. Now, how would Joseph get there? No wonder Joseph didn't die in the pit. No wonder Reuben stepped in that don't kill him. No wonder they sold him and preserved him, because he was still going to the palace to fulfill it. But look at what God allowed let's see what God allowed for Joseph to fulfill his purpose. Because Joseph could have resisted. And many of us are resisting. Joseph went through pain and agony. Why will he have to go into the prison to fulfill the purpose and the will of God for his life? Many of you, the moment you step into the purpose and it's not convenient, you just step out. It is dangerous to step out, because the grace of God will sustain you in his purpose no matter how painful. Look at what happened in Psalm 105 verse 14. Psalm 105 verse 14. Let's quickly read. Jesus, see, he said he permitted no one to do them wrong. Yes, he rebuked king for their what? Because they were in the purpose of God. 14. 15. Quickly. Saying, do not touch my anointed ones and do my prophet no harm, because I have preserved them. I have need of them. When you are in the purpose of God, there is a need for you. God needs you. And it is not your own decision to determine whether you are going to be used or not. You must allow yourself to be used because God determines it. But guess what? But you have a choice, either to be used or not to be used. Father, I want to be used by you. And no matter how painful it is, I will go through. Oh, I can't speak. We'll get there. Look at what happened to Jeremiah. He never thought that he could become a prophet. He didn't know. He didn't know. And many of us are like that. By now, we will have become a global ambassador of Christ. But because you feel that no, let me just contain myself. Father, I don't want to contain myself. Reveal me in your will. That's your prayer. But listen to this. Listen to this. Verse 15. 15, please. 16. Moreover, he called a famine in the land. He destroyed all the provision of the bread. In his what? In his will. 17. He sent a man before them. Look at it. All in his word. Because he was in the will. Because he has said that the 4th generation, he will bring them back. He will bring them back. Good morning, sir. Let's welcome one of our senior pastors, Dr. Babade. Thank you, sir. Now, he sent a man before them. Joseph was sold as a slave. Those of you that don't know the story now, you can see all that Joseph went through because God wanted to show that he was going to the palace. God wanted to show that, look, it's in my will for him to become the prime minister. That is in my will to become a leader. It's in my will to become a pastor of the king. It's in my will. It's not going to be convenient for him, but it is in my will. But guess what? At this point, verse 18, Joseph could have resisted. And that thing will not. And many of us are resisting God. That's why you cannot see the will of God translated into something meaningful in your life. You can't be in the will of God and beg. Look, I said, they hurt his feet with fetters. He was what? Can you imagine? At this point, the pain was too much. You could have said no, and resisted them. I'm sure there were several times where Joseph could have escaped the same way Moses escaped. And then see what happened. Until the time that his word came to pass. Do you understand? He stayed inside that pain until the word come to pass. Sir, he could have left before the word came to pass. Many of us don't want the word of God to come to pass because it's just, your own is my will. But let's see. He said until the time that his word came to pass, the word of the Lord did what? Allow the word to test his will. We don't allow the word to test. Because what do you test? Because without test, there can't be exam. Without exam, there can't be promotion. Let me tell you, with God, where I left many years ago, where I used to repeat, some people are there spiritually. And they'll keep repeating the class. Because one, they can't hear. And it's not about age. It's not about age. Christianity is not about age. Pastor, do you understand? It's about the grace. Allow the grace to help you. So this young girl can be more matured in the spirit than a man or a woman that is 70 years. And then God will promote her more. Because the other ones, they have become trailers. They can't hear. No, they can't hear. What is it that you cannot just listen and solve? Where you are, it is the same stubbornness that have brought you there. So, look, I said the king sent and released him. The ruler of the people let him go free. Nobody can hold you captive when you're at the center of God's will. Because the will has timing. So, even if man wants to hold you captive, because you are in the center of God's will, God will make sure that everything works together for good for you. God will step in, will be leading you. And as he's leading you, he's controlling the heart of your oppressors. That no. And they won't know. Their intention was to give Joseph life imprisonment. Their intention was to not, Potiphar didn't want to even let him see the light of day again. That my wife, what effrontery. They wanted to lock him up for, do you know what? How you know is that they have forgotten him. Nobody even remembered that Joseph was there. But God knew. God preserved him. Because Joseph had keyed into the purpose of God. And that purpose was to become the prime minister. Whatever God was going to deploy from heaven, God would do it. One of the reasons why you struggle is because you are doing it by yourself. The way you have taken the fish out of the ocean. And you have to crack your brain on how to feed them. Whether you have money or not, you must feed them. So allow God. Can you say, I will allow God? You see, men can help you. Men can help you as they helped us. Men can help you and put you to the will of God. But you can hate that thing. You can hate it. I hate it. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. But listen, he made him Lord of his what? And ruler over what? And then see what happened. He made him what? To bind what? To bind kings. To bind his princes at his pleasure. And teach his elders wisdom. Did the king not call him to tell him that, Joseph, I had a problem. What do I do? Can you imagine at the time that the chains were hurting? Many of you cannot endure pain. They just put you on simple chloroquine to sleep for 2 seconds. You have gone a wire. Do you understand what I'm saying? You must fulfill purpose. No, it's not for some certain set of. It said Israel also came into Egypt, and Jacob dwelled in the land of Am. Do you understand what I'm saying? What? Wait, what are you doing in life? No, what are you doing? What do you want to do? You came to God and you're telling him, no, I can't talk. So let's round up with this. Give me Jeremiah chapter 1. Let me close with that. There are many things that we cannot even share. The word of the Lord came to Jeremiah, the son of Hilkiah, of the priests who were in Hanathoth, in the land of Benjamin, to whom the word of the Lord came in. To whom the word of the Lord came in the days of Josiah, the son of Ammon, king of Judah, and in the 13th year of his reign. City of David is 13 years. It came in the days of Jehoiakim, the son of Josiah, the king of Judah, until the end of the 11th year of Zedekiah, the son of Judea, king of Judah, until the carrying away of the Jerusalem captives in the 5th month. See what happened. Then the word of the Lord came to me, saying, before I formed you in the womb, I what? So close it there. Before where? You'll be a magician to know the revelation inside this thing. Let me put it that way. Before you were what? Before? So what God was saying is that those who produce this phone, before the next phone is what now? iPhone what? 17 Pro Max. 18. So they'll do 18 ordinary, 18 Pro Max. Now that 18 Pro Max, we have not seen it. Do you know there are engineers working behind the scenes day and night, knowing the component they will put to be better than the previous one? So that was what God was telling Jeremiah, that before your parents came together, the things I have put in you, you cannot see them. You can't feel them, because I didn't do it while you are being formed. They won't just wake up and say, this is the phone. There are many things to put in it. And for them to come up with this phone to be better than the previous one, they must also go back to what they have done to see what they can do better. They don't just say, let's do it. It takes brain, it takes energy, it takes capacity to do something to be better than the previous one. They don't just show up and say, no, this is iPhone Pro Max. It is better. Go and use it. No, there's a lot of work. The work they are doing is not the one that God is talking about. So this one, it says, so I have done the work before you were born. So now you just stand on the work I have done. Rise up on your feet. If you're going to clap, clap.
Thank you for joining us. For more information, call. Visit us online at www.codabuja.org. Follow us on all social media platforms at RCCG COD Abuja. Until next time, stay blessed.